Northampton Saints face delicate balancing act as England stars return exhausted from Six Nations. The conclusion of the 2026 Six Nations Championship has left clubs across England facing a familiar but increasingly complex challenge: how to reintegrate their international players after an intense and often draining campaign. For Northampton Saints, that challenge is particularly pronounced. The reigning 2023-24 Premiership champions contributed more players to the England national rugby union team than any other top-flight club, and now must carefully manage their return both physically and mentally. Director of Rugby Phil Dowson has made it clear that there will be no one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, each player will be treated individually, with decisions made based on their workload, mental state, and readiness to perform again at club level. A heavy England presence comes at a cost. Northampton had 8 players named in Steve Borthwick's initial 36-man England training squad, underlining the club's importance to the national setup. Among those selected were key figures such as Tommy Freeman, Alex Coles, Henry Pollock, and Trevor Davison, all of whom featured across the championship. Meanwhile, Finn Smith and Fraser Dingwall also played their part, contributing in various fixtures as England attempted to mount a serious title challenge. However, that ambition ultimately fell short. England endured a disappointing tournament, finishing 5th with just 1 win from 5 matches, their worst ever Six Nations record. What began as a campaign full of promise quickly turned into one of frustration, inconsistency, and mounting pressure. For players returning to club duty, that disappointment lingers. Emotional and physical fatigue. Dowson has been in regular contact with his players throughout the international window, striking a careful balance between support and space. Now that they are back in Northampton's environment, he acknowledges the toll the campaign has taken. "I think they're frustrated, and I think they probably are exhausted," he admitted. Fatigue in rugby is rarely just physical. While the demands of Test rugby are immense, involving high-intensity collisions, relentless travel, and minimal recovery time, the emotional strain can be just as significant. Players who featured heavily may feel drained from the constant pressure of international competition. Those who played limited minutes or were in and out of selection face a different challenge: frustration, uncertainty, and a sense of missed opportunity. Dowson highlighted this emotional complexity, pointing to individuals like Dingwall and Davison, who would have wanted more game time, as well as Pollock, who experienced fluctuating roles between starting and the bench. All of these things have some emotional baggage to them, and that takes energy, he explained. No one-size-fits-all approach. In response, Northampton Saints are adopting a flexible, player-centered strategy. Regulations require returning England players to sit out one of the next 3 club fixtures, but the timing of that rest period is left to the discretion of clubs and players. For Dowson and his coaching staff, that rule is not a restriction, it's an opportunity to tailor recovery plans. "I wouldn't say we have a policy per se," he said. "It's based on what each individual needs." That could mean giving one player immediate rest while another is brought straight back into action to regain rhythm. For example, a player like Dingwall, who may not have seen much game time, might benefit from playing sooner, whereas someone like Pollock or Freeman could require a break to recover from accumulated fatigue. This individualized approach reflects a broader shift in modern rugby, where player welfare is increasingly prioritized alongside performance. The importance of routine and environment beyond physical recovery. Dowson emphasized the importance of re-establishing normality. During the Six Nations, players are often based at training camps such as Pennyhill Park or traveling across Europe, living out of suitcases and operating in high-pressure environments. Returning to familiar surroundings can be a powerful reset. "One of the things is getting them back into a routine," Dowson said. "Getting them back in their own beds, back with the squad, where they can be themselves." This sense of normalcy helps players decompress, reconnect with teammates, and gradually shift their focus back to club rugby. It also provides an opportunity to process the emotional highs and lows of the international stage. Northampton support system plays a key role here. Sports psychologist Ollie Dixon works closely with players to assess their mental state, discuss their experiences, and identify any lingering challenges. "It's about refreshing them as much as we can and making sure we treat them as individuals," Dowson added. Managing burnout risks. One player who epitomizes the challenges of workload management is Tommy Freeman. The versatile back has been a near-constant presence for both club and country over the past 2 years. Since missing out on the 2023 Rugby World Cup squad, Freeman has featured in 24 of England's last 29 tests. His involvement extended beyond international duty, as he was also selected for the British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, where he played in 6 matches, including all 3 tests at club level. His workload has been equally demanding. Freeman has made 55 appearances for Northampton Saints in that same period, including major fixtures such as the Premiership final and the Investec Champions Cup final. It's not just the number of games that raises concern, it's the minutes. Freeman has averaged 77 minutes per test for England and 72 minutes per game for Northampton, indicating a consistently high level of involvement with little respite. Dowson is acutely aware of the risks. The last thing that Steve and I want is for Freemo to burn out or get injured or both, he said. Collaboration between club and country. Managing players like Freeman requires close collaboration between club and national setups. The introduction of hybrid contracts has helped facilitate this, allowing both parties to share responsibility for player welfare. Dowson emphasized that communication is key, not only between coaches but also with the player himself. Tommy's experienced and honest enough with us to say how he's feeling, he explained. This openness allows for proactive management. Dowson recalled how, following the Lions tour, he and assistant coach Sam Vesti recognized signs of fatigue in Freeman and adjusted his workload accordingly. It's always a conversation with the player, he said. Making sure we're doing the best thing short, medium, and long term. Balancing performance and welfare. As Northampton Saints prepare for the final stretch of the domestic and European season, they face a delicate balancing act. On one hand, they need their England stars firing to maintain competitiveness. On the other, pushing players too hard risks injury, burnout, and long-term consequences. This tension is not unique to Northampton, it is a challenge faced by clubs across the rugby world. However, the Saints' significant England contingent makes their situation particularly complex. Dowson's approach reflects an understanding that success is not just about immediate results. It's about sustaining performance over time while protecting the players who make it possible. Looking ahead, the return of international players always brings a boost in quality and experience, but it also requires careful handling. For Northampton Saints, the coming weeks will test their ability to manage the transition effectively, with players carrying both physical fatigue and emotional scars from a difficult 6 Nations campaign. Empathy and flexibility will be crucial. At the same time, the demands of Premiership and European competition leave little room for extended recovery periods. Ultimately, Dowson and his staff must navigate these competing priorities, ensuring their players are ready to perform without compromising their well-being. As rugby continues to evolve, with increasing intensity and longer seasons, the importance of player management will only grow. Northampton Saints' approach, individualized, empathetic, and collaborative, may well serve as a model for others to follow. For now, though, the focus is simple: get their players refreshed, refocused, and ready to go again.